Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is Elise here of Plan with Elise, and today I'm going to be sharing with you a lot of my favorite tools and supplies for decorative planning and also functional planning. If you watch my videos, you will have seen a lot of these often, but I don't usually put them all in one video together. So I kind of wanted a space here on YouTube as just kind of like my go-to products and some products that sometimes I forget to use and I want to remember to, if that makes sense. So just trying to grab something from the side here. The first thing that we're going to start with is actually from my Etsy shop. This is one of my printables, and I've done an update. Oh, we are blurry. There we go. We're gonna auto focus lock that. Okay. I've done an update to my Etsy shop where most of my printables now have cut marks. So if you use a classic, a big, or a mini, well, the big doesn't have cut marks because the big doesn't need it because that's just this size. But I did a lot of work a couple of months ago to include cut marks. So when you purchase something from my Etsy shop now, you will have 3 downloads available to you: classic, big, and mini. And it's up to you to decide which one you would like to print out, but it's really helpful to have these cut marks. It was one of my most common requests, or questions anyway: how do I cut the printables? And for me, I always just lined them up against another classic sized page, but I know it's really helpful, even for me, to have these. So this is a paper trimmer. I think any paper trimmer is great. You can also, of course, use scissors. And then once that is trimmed, I grab my Happy Planner punch. This is a big size punch because you can punch any size with the big punch. So looks like I messed up a little bit with my trimming right down here. You'll see a little bit of an extra punch there. But if I had just shifted that a little, that's perfect. Another thing that I like to do is print on sticker paper. This sticker paper I will use for both my printables and for my reading journal. So if you've seen photos or videos or reels of my reading journal, I always print my book covers. I love this sticker paper because it's inexpensive. It comes in a big pack. It's a matte white. And those are really the only 2 things. Oh, I'll also print like shipping labels if I'm mailing things to my patrons on this as well. But this is from Amazon too, and I will get it linked, but it's just really easy to peel too. It's like, what if I said it was easy to peel and then it was really difficult? That would have been a problem. But it's really easy to peel. I actually just keep a stack of it right next to my printer so I can switch out the paper. Speaking of printer paper, I use this is a very different finish than Happy Planner. This is a little bit more smooth. It's also a thicker weight than normal printer paper, and I will make sure to link that as well. I think it's Hewlett Packard. It might be 32 pound, but I'll be sure that I get the exact link. So that's the paper I use for my printables. If I were to use regular printer paper, it would just be way too thin for my liking. And again, all of this is like personal taste, right? It doesn't mean you can't print these on regular paper. I don't care. You can print them on whatever you want, but that's my preference. Next up, and this is a Live Love Posh sticker book that I just grabbed to kind of share with you an example. We are going to talk about punching the spine of the planner. So if I were to put this sticker here because I wanted it on the spine, I'd have a problem because it is covering up the punches. I don't like to use my big Happy Planner punch when I'm punching through here because, number one, it's really hard to line up when you only want to punch a couple of things. And number 2, the Happy Planner punch, to be honest, tends to get stuck a lot. So I love the We Are Memory Keepers Crocodile punch. I delayed buying this for a really long time because it's a little bit pricier. I don't know the exact price right now, but it's usually between like $25 and $30. And the thing is, now that I bought it, I use it so many times a week that I couldn't believe I waited that long. So I'm going to show you how this works. There is a little mushroom right here, and you're going to take that mushroom and put it here. So see, I'm like moving it. It's not going anywhere because it's kind of like that stencil. And then just punch. And we'll do it again to this side. And just punch. This is supposed to cut through pretty much everything. I don't know if I even have anything else to test besides paper, but it's supposed to punch through a lot of things. You know what? I have a little tiny cardboard thing right here from Happy Planner. We're going to do this on screen. I'm a little nervous. Well, that couldn't have been easier. Look at that. You can punch it through cardboard. You could never do that with the Happy Planner punch. It would break. And I have broken mine before. I'm on my second one. So this crocodile punch is phenomenal. I think it's called a power punch. It's really strong. It's small enough. I mean, it fits in my hand. It's smaller than the big punch. So I just think that it's a really, really good product when you are decorative planning. Next up, we are going to talk, and maybe I did already even use it a little bit, about these tweezers. I cannot get enough of these tweezers. They are essential for me. Not just like, these are nice to have. These are essential for me in my planning for a couple of different reasons. Number one, clear stickers especially can be really difficult to lift off a page. These make it really easy, or as easy as possible, to lift them off the page. The other reason is because I can get a really good angle when I'm putting a sticker down. If I were holding this with my hand, this one is big enough that I can get a good angle, but let's talk about a bullet point and the challenge of bullet points. And I don't think this is just because I have nails. I think this is just a problem in general. But I should be able to pull it up. The problem is, it's going to be really hard for me to stick this down. Of course, I can do it straight now that I'm sitting here on camera. But if you've ever used smaller bullet points, this is just so much easier. We're going to peel it up, and it's just going to go right here. It'll take much longer to do it with my hands than not. And maybe that was easy. This one's actually crooked. Maybe that was easier because those are square bullets. Let's pull out a circle-shaped one. This time, I can see it slightly, and I can put it down, but it's not that easy. With the bullet, once I, of course, peel it up, it will be easier. What you do have to be careful of when you're using tweezers for bullet points is any ripping. Like a little bit I got over here because I wasn't being slow and careful enough with it. All right. Now let's kind of stick back with this sticker book as the example. I don't know why I chose the orange sticker book. I felt like it just made the most sense. We are going to talk about undo. If you have been around the planner community for a bit, you will have seen undo remover, but that was crooked. We are going to do a little test here. I'm going to give that ink a second to dry. Undo is an adhesive remover. So if you put a sticker down in the wrong spot, you will be able to pour undo over it and peel up the sticker. The reason I wanted to write is because undo will not smudge your pen. Now it comes with this little tray. If you read the directions, you're supposed to just put a couple drops and then kind of use the tray to spread it. Then, because I've seen a lot of people do this incorrectly, put the lid back on. There's still a little bit left. Give it a second to sit, and then you're going to use this edge of the tray to slide this up just to get a nice little grip there. And look, it did not smudge the pen at all. So we're going to let this dry. This is going to be just as sticky as it was before. Once it dries, this is all going to dry, and you will have never known that there was a mistake made in your planner. So we'll put this back down over here since you'll be able to see this part drying. This will cut back to normal as, oops, that's why we put the lid on. That'll get back to normal as we continue the video. Now we are going to do a correction tape test. And we're going to do it twice. My ride or die correction tape is Papermate Dry Line Ultra Correction Tape. This comes in a 3-pack. I buy it maybe every 2 months or so. It is my favorite correction tape. It's affordable. It's really smooth. I don't typically have issues with it, but what we're going to do is give it a second to settle because I tend to write hard and I want to show you writing over it. Now, of course, you can see the correction tape, right? This is not meant to be an invisible correction tape, but you can write over it really easily. I find that when you write on it, you do need to give it another second for the pen to dry because the pen this doesn't absorb the ink the way that paper will absorb the ink in terms of fast drying. So things that may typically be fast drying might take just a little bit longer if you're writing over correction tape. Next up, let's talk about adhesive. I like this Tombow Dots adhesive. I've gone through a lot of different types of adhesive over the years to figure out which one I liked the most. I went the budget route. I tried getting like the pack of Recollections or whatever from Michael's, and it just wasn't doing the trick. This adhesive I like to use for just cutting up a sticky note here. I like to use it for scrapbook paper, which you would have seen in my classic for the week of Mother's Day, or photos in my planner. This time we're just going to use it as an example using this sticky note that's now just paper because I took off the sticky. And it just slides really nicely. It closes, and we'll put this right down over here. And once that goes down, it's not going to go anywhere. You could peel it up if you needed to, probably quickly, but it's not repositionable. I think that there are actually repositionable options. Next up, there's a lot we were going through today. I said there's a lot. All right, next up is a washi cutting card. Of course, I need washi to show you how this works. This one specifically is from Live Love Posh. Live Love Posh has a ton of options of these on the site. Code Elise10 will give you a discount. This is a great tool to trim your washi with a nice straight line. So I had that one down. We're gonna put this over here. Now, there's other things you can use for this. Instead of buying something, you could use an old gift card or a credit card or something that you don't need access to, but it's really simple. I like that it's metal because it gives me a nice, good grip, and it's just a really great product, and I'm a fan. Definitely a fan of this. Okay. I also want to point out that this dried perfectly with no problems at all. Didn't smudge the pen. Everything's good. Let's talk about a little bit more about clear stickers, because a lot of us love to use clear stickers in our planner, especially clear florals. So I just want to find the right one for this example. I want something that's a little bit lighter. This is great. We're going to use my tweezers again. Now, if I were to put this down right over here, look at that. You can see that black all the way through. So I am going to use my Uniball Signo white pen. This is the juiciest of the white pens. It does not skip like I used to experience with, what was the other white pen? I'm sure I threw all of them out because it was a Jelly Roll maybe? I don't remember, but I just stopped using them, so I don't need them anymore. Now, if you want, I usually will give it a second to dry so it doesn't extend through, but I'm just trying to show this as the best example. There we go. So now you don't see the line. Let's talk about knives while we are here. I'm trying to make everything kind of go into the next one. I have two knives that I really like. The Fiskars is probably my favorite, and this is just a really good angle right here, although I didn't cut that straight. And then I'll usually take my tweezers to pull up the edge. I also cut it through the page. So don't do that. Do it a little bit lighter than I did. The other option is this slice cutter. I like it because it's retractable. I'm terrified of this knife. I'm always scared that I'm going to leave the cap open, put it on wrong, stab myself. This is a retractable one, and this blade is actually ceramic. So it's going to give not a different cut, but it's going to be a little bit different than the Fiskars. And what I find with this is I usually have a little bit of trouble getting started, but once I have my slice, I'm good to go. And again, I can just shut it like I would a pen. There we go. So we have two nice clean cuts. I like them both. If I could only use one, I would probably use the Fiskars because it's going to be good for both bigger projects and smaller ones. The slice, I think, is probably better for small ones, but it's really a matter of personal preference. There's nothing wrong with either of these. I keep them both on my desk and I just pull out whichever one I feel like using, honestly. Next up is a product that I also delayed purchasing and I can't get enough of. So I'm going to pull a bunch of them out. Oops, as all of my pens kind of collapse around me. And these are the Kuretake Zig Clean Color Dot markers. This was another purchase delay because it wasn't, you know, $10. These can be in the $20 range. And I'm using these all the time. These dot markers, if you do a tiny dot, you get a little dot. If you press a little bit more, you get a bigger dot. And if you really press, you get another big dot. And then you have the twin tip as well. One of the things to note about these is that they can bleed through Happy Planner paper. So you want to be mindful. That pink really bled through, the purple a little bit. You'll want to be mindful of how hard you're pressing. Oftentimes, I'm just going to do the little dot because the bigger dot you do, the more ink you're putting on the paper. That one's probably going to be a bleeder. I usually will also use these over something else, like over another sticker or in a planner where I'm not as concerned about the bleed through. So these are some of the color options. Now that we did some light dots, let's take a look. You can see that darker blue and also the red here. So these are a product to be careful with in terms of the way that they bleed. If you are expecting to put them in your planner and there's not going to be any issues, you may just want to rethink that. So another thing I want to talk about with bleeding as I pull out the next item to share, we're going to have a lot to clean up after this, is that oftentimes I see people in the planner Facebook groups talking about different styles of markers and maybe they were disappointed with something because it said on the package, no bleed, and it bled. The package can't tell you that it's not going to bleed through the type of paper or planner that you use. When a package says no bleed, it means that the ink isn't going to extend. So for example, it's going to be hard to see, but this purple dot spiders a tiny bit out. It's not like a perfect dot. And from my understanding, that's what it means when you're talking about a pen bleeding. But a company can't say that a pen won't bleed. One of my favorite products as well are the Zebra mild liner brush pens. I cannot brush letter, but I use these to highlight, which you could also, of course, just use the Zebra highlight, but I like to make like taller words with these. I like to fill in my budget trackers with these because they're just a softer tip and it's really enjoyable to use. We're going to try to brush letter. If I were brush lettering, these probably wouldn't be the ones I'd use because the tip is soft and I know that I need something with a finer or a firmer, a firmer tip. So where's the package? It may have fallen down. No, we have it. To the side. This is a package of pens that I purchased recently. I just haven't had as much time to practice, but I know that these are one of the best options out there. These are the Tombow Fudenosuke brush pens, and these have a really firm tip for someone new like me who really needs a brush pen that you're not going to lose control of. So even though this still isn't great, because again, I'm not a brush letterer, it's giving me so much more control than the Zebra Mild Liner. And over here, I would just kind of clean this up a little bit with my edges so that you couldn't see it. I'm not going to claim to be a good brush letterer. Let's try with my name. You can really get a finer tip here than I can over there, or a finer line. It's okay. It's okay in terms of my lettering. The pens I love. I think that these are great, and I can't wait to find the time to actually like play around with them and really utilize them. Another thing that I want to share with you in terms of my favorites is actually a Happy Planner sticker book. This is on sale right now. Maybe, I don't think it's on clearance, but it's definitely on sale. And this is the journaling sticker book. This is such a great essential sticker book because you have the dates, you have icons, and everything can be colored in. Look at all of these bullets, dollar signs, trackers. This can match any spread that you're doing because you can change the color however you want to. So let's take, I don't even want to use one of these as an example because I love these sticker books and I just picked up a couple more. Let's take one of these to-dos. So this is the other end of the Zebra Mild Liner, and I'm just going to color in over here a little bit. And then we're going to be really careful here. But now if I have green in my spread, or even floral with greenery and like leaves, this will just be really pretty and a nice way to add the color in, and you wouldn't necessarily know. I think we have to turn off our autofocus lock. There we go. You wouldn't necessarily know that it wasn't green to begin with. Come on, focus. Anyone else have an iPhone 14 and just like really annoyed about its inability to focus? Because this is a daily struggle in the life of Plan with Elise. All right, we are focused. I have adjusted the settings. I've tried Googling it and adjusting the settings in terms of the iPhone, and it's just not working. The next thing that I want to talk about is this half sheet from the Happy Planner. This is punched for 9 holes, like a classic. I believe these are on sale as well. I usually ignore the date part because that's a lot of things to get done in one day. I'm pretty productive, Happy Planner, but I'm not like 30 items deep productive. But I love these because they have the little checklist. This is great for me for a weekly overview because I can put it in the middle of my spread and still see what's on each side and kind of do it as a weekly brain dump. And then you have the inside pages too, and I usually ignore the date. I don't even know that I actually noticed date was on here until today. And then the back also has this like beige grid. And these come in packs of 40 sheets, so almost enough to keep you through the year if you are using them every week. You could also use these for grocery lists. You could use them for packing lists. There's so many different ways that you can use these, and they are absolutely some of my favorites. The next one will be a familiar product to you if you have ever watched one of my big Plan With Me's, and that is my Line It Up, Check It Off stencil. I don't typically use this in the classic because the lines are going to go all the way to the edge, and I don't love the look of it. I did see a trick. I just can't remember who did the trick. So let me know if you know who did the trick, where you can put some washi tape down. Let's try this out. I haven't tried it out, so we're going to do it together. Another great use for the washi. And if you don't want the lines to go all the way to the edge, and you write small, because you need to be able to write small to use this trick, you can cover up some of the stencil so that you're only getting some less wide, more narrow lines, and you're not going edge to edge. I'm looking around my desk because I feel like that may be it in terms of the products that I use all the time and I really wanted to be sure to share with you. We may be missing something. I don't know. It'll come to me, of course, probably when I finish the video. And in that case, there would definitely be a part 2. You know, one thing I will show you while we are here, and I know it was just on my desk, and of course, I don't see it now. We're going to give it one more second. As I'm looking for it, I will say that I will link everything in the description of this video that I used today for you to shop with, any discount codes I can find, all that jazz. I really can't find this. This is actually a tripod that I'm loving. I guess it would be difficult to share how I use the tripod sitting here on camera, like desk down view, so maybe it's better that I can't seem to find it, but I just basically took out so many different supplies, so my desk is a little bit of a mess. But I think that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me, just kind of like a chill video showing you some things I love, and that's all. Make sure to shop using the links in the description. Most of them will be affiliate links, especially the ones to Amazon, which means that I will earn a commission if you shop using my link. And that's a wrap. I will see you soon.